Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day. My name is Jason Weiss. I am the host of the Ask Jason Weiss show. For those of you that have listened to me before, thank you for coming back. For those new viewers, because of our special guest today, thank you for tuning in. Although I am an attorney and a practicing attorney, nothing today constitutes legal advice. Should you seek legal or financial advice or medical advice, consult an attorney, an accountant, or a doctor directly. Now, today's show is going to be a little bit different than shows that we've done in the past. And the reason for that is I have somebody with me today who I'm very excited to have here, who is not an attorney. Correct? You're not an attorney.
Not an attorney.
Doesn't play one on TV. Didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, but touches the legal world on a daily basis. And the point of having Darrell with us today, I said it correct, right? Darrell.
You got it.
There you go. So the point of having Darrell with us today is to a couple of things. Number one, to talk about what happens when you have that family piece of real estate, that property, that's something that somebody can no longer take care of or is no longer around. What do you do with it, right? When it's across the country and you're not there. And the second is how law really touches our lives when we don't even think about it. So Darrell has a company. It's called Jacksons Crossing LLC. And what he talks about is real estate liquidation solutions, and real estate solutions is the best way to do it. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about Darrell. We're going to get to know him as a person, as a human being, what got him here today, and most importantly, how he can help you, our listeners. So Darrell, very nice to have you on the show. Thank you so much for your time here today. And, you and I have spoken in the past, and I know, your history and things that you've done and obstacles you've overcome and successes you've had and all of the great stuff. But if you want to give the viewers a quick, 2-minute spiel about who you are as a human being, and then we're going to roll into what do you do as a professional. So tell us a little bit about Darrell. You're not on the dating game, but, tell us a little bit about you and who you are.
Well, to your point, sir, I am single, so keep an eye out.
There you go.
Yeah,
ladies, gentlemen, everybody. We have a single gentleman here.
Okay. Yeah. So my name is Darrell Jackson. I'm founder and CEO of Jacksons Crossing. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. My mother's from Germany, and my father's from Baltimore. It's funny. So you're located in Florida, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so in Florida, football is king, so I'm told. My parents actually met because my mother was a cheerleader and my father was a football player. So I was like but my mom's from Germany, and she joined cheerleading when she was young so she could learn English and acclimate to the culture. And so and she ended up meeting my dad and having me and whatnot. So it's really interesting. I'm a football baby. Fun. It's a funny.
So importantly, what football team do you root for?
So I root for the Ravens.
Any relation to to Jackson?
Oh yeah, Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
I wish. I actually live about a half a mile from the facility. I wish I was related to him.
So Lamar, if you're out there, this is your long lost cousin that you want to adopt right here. And, he's got some great real estate liquidation ideas and programs that, maybe you want to get involved in. So there's the plug. So
I appreciate it.
So
about a half a mile away. The facility is a half a mile away.
So mom and dad meet, football player, cheerleader, German. My brother lives in Germany. He is but he is the assistant coach at Stuttgart in the Bazunda League. I said that poorly. So I've got the German ties there, and
Bundesliga. Right. Yeah.
So So you grow up, and all of a sudden, what you decide you want to be in real estate?
No. So it's actually I'm actually the my great grandfather was an attorney. He was a civil rights attorney, and he actually got a building named after him, a federal building named after him for his work. He worked with like Thurgood Marshall and
Oh,
Oliver
wow.
Hill.
Wow.
So he actually got a building named after him in July. But for his work in the civil in Roanoke, Virginia. And his son, my grandfather, is practicing attorney. We'll talk about that a bit more later. And so the plan was that I would be the next generation of attorney in my family. So I was supposed to be third generation attorney, but I turned out to be first generation disappointment.
No, that's BS. No, that's BS. That's BS.
No, but we make it worse. So my grandfather, actually, how I got into what I do is my grandfather is an estate attorney, and I actually there was during COVID, I'd worked as a political organizer. I was the best on the phones. I could do phone sales, so to speak, and volunteer recruitment. I was really good at it. I was the best at it. But the thing is, when you work in politics, you don't get paid more for being better at it. Right. So I was like, if I'm always doing this, I'm making 250 calls a day and I'm loving it. I'm having fun with it. One time I called somebody and they said they can't talk to me because they're a dairy farmer and it was peak season. So I guess I was like 22, 23 years old. And I'm like, I guess I better move. And then they like laugh. And so it like breaks the tension or whatever. So I'm like getting really good at what I do, and just having fun with over the phone sales, but I wasn't making more money because of it. So when COVID hit, I'd done some really cool stuff, and I worked with a population of students who were, I guess they had dropped out of high school and they were getting back into high school. And so and they were about to graduate. So my job was to help them form a plan for after they graduate and navigate sort of their uh
Like their business plan or their next step.
Right. So I did that, and then COVID hit, and this is in inner city Baltimore. So the digital divide is real. Like a lot of them didn't have laptops and everything, and I was the school I worked at became a food site, and so they put me in charge of like 3 National Guardsmen, two medical personnel, grounds personnel, and a food personnel to hand out a bunch of like boxes of like resources like food and stuff to families and to students. Then we had to hand out homework as well during COVID, during the lockdown and everything. So it was harder to really get, like, once we're in full on, like, what is it, quarantine. Once we were in quarantine, those students, I couldn't really connect with them as much as I needed to. And I just thought, because they were like, I was going to get a new class, and my class that I had already worked with, they graduated. I had a student who was homeless, and I helped him get into he was a good drummer. He was a really good drummer, but he was homeless, and I helped him apply to art school, like arts college, and he got in. And I saw him a few years ago, and he's doing fine. And then I had a few other students with like some other things, but I noticed I was really good at working with people. So I thought, hey, why don't I transition into something after these kids graduated? And it was very, very grueling and taxing sometimes. A lot of the kids needed a lot. So I knew I couldn't take another one, especially if it was all going to be virtual. So I said, you know what, I think this is a good time for me to transition. I was young. I was 26. when this happened. So I thought this is a good opportunity for me to transition. And so I was applying to jobs in sales, so I could really get into sales. And I got this email of this. It was a name. It was Cassidy, and a very uniquely French name. It was the most beautiful name that I'd ever seen. And I said, this has to be a beautiful woman. It has to be. And then I open it up, and I'm like, and it couldn't be a scam because of the name. The name was so distinct that it's like, you would be the worst scammer. So I look into it, and she's like, hey, yeah, we got your application. I applied on Indeed. Do you want to come in for an interview? And I'm like, yeah. So I come in. The girl she was beautiful, and she was great. And it got me into, they showed me basically what they do at the business. They buy and sell real estate off market. And I'm like, wow, this is cool. But and I was good at it. Like I said, I could use my phone skills again. But I said, we're calling people who are just sitting in their house and asking them if they want to sell their property. This doesn't make any sense. Now, so backtrack. Like I said, I was backtrack to when I was in high school. I did an internship. My first ever job was an intern at an elder law firm. And so because I wanted to be a lawyer at the time. And so my first ever job was, and when I applied to that internship, all of my friends, my grandfather, he does primarily like criminal defense. I mean, we live in Baltimore, so he does criminal defense, and I learned later he does estates as well. But so everybody else is like getting like legal aid, public defense, legal aid, prosecutor, and people are getting all these people are getting all these placements. And I'm at an elder law firm, and that was when the Affordable Care Act just came out.
Mm-hmm.
So my first week, the attorney I work with, she handed to me this big binder, and she's like, okay, what I want you to do is, we just got these new regulations for Medicaid. I want you to basically organize this binder and give me a summary of like each of the updates, right? These are huge binders. Mind you, I'm 16.
Yeah. So if this were today, and even if you were 16, you would have taken all those binders, gone over to the scanner, or taken pictures on your phone, uploaded it to ChatGPT or one of the others, and you would have been like, summarize this for me. And you would have been done in like 2 hours, and you would have been like, here you go. Okay. And that's the fear that some people in the legal profession have, right? That younger attorneys, or attorneys in school, or attorneys that just got out 3, 4, 5 years out, that nobody's going to want to teach them or train them, because the tasks like you were given, they're not going to have anymore, because we upload it to ChatGPT, and it's good for giving us a summary. Hey, here's what it is. Can you summarize it? Can you give me a high level? And then you can go in and use your legal skills and your training and go from there. But, that was the type of stuff that younger attorneys had. So, I'm not saying you shouldn't have gone to law school. You made your decision to do what you did, and you're doing just great.
Thanks, Dad.
Yep. And you're in a field that you really enjoy, because when we were talking about what you do, there was such passion behind it. But, for you, it seems like you had a calling to where you're at, because you have, a fondness of speaking with people, and you want to help, deep down inside. Like, that's truly what you want to do. You want to help. So what type of people are you helping professionally these days? Where is it that Jackson, I need to get the name right, Jacksons Crossing LLC, what exactly do you do?
So great question. So like I said, that was an estate plan, elder law and estate planning law firm. So what I do is basically I facilitate real estate, off-market real estate transactions to my network of nationwide investors.
Okay.
For
so for the listeners that aren't as up to speed in this, I will interrupt you so that we can clarify and you could do, because when we're talking, right, you talk about, you know, real estate and all of this, and that's off market, right? So what would that mean, right? I own a house. My house is not currently up for sale. But you know, I wouldn't, I guess, need somebody like you. But when you say something that's off market, what specifically are you looking for that's off market?
So great question. So a lot of times families inherit properties, or like say like a mom dies and they're like adult children. There's 3 adult children. I'll give you a great example.
Just no names, because you know we don't want to break any privileges here.
Right.
If it's you, go for it. But
well,
not
it's my family. It's all my family.
And go for it.
Right.
Not your client names.
So 1 second. So my great grandmother, she painted this, right? This is my grandfather in his Eagle Scout. This is his brother, his younger brother, and this is his second youngest brother.
Nice.
Right? And my great grandma painted this. This was the great grandma who was married to the attorney.
Okay.
As a federal bill. So basically how it started was, or how it works is, essentially when she passed away in 2020, which is right when I started, she passed away right when I started working in real estate. And so my grandfather did the estate. He opened the estate, and there's him and his 2 brothers who inherited the property. Initially, it wasn't necessarily a high priority for them to sell the property, but over the next sort of 2.5 years, my grandfather was handling all of the taxes and everything, all the filings and everything. He was the executor of the estate.
Right. So if there was probate, he was handling that. If there was an estate, he was dealing with that. He was probably either the personal representative or the executive. One of the 2.
So when my grandma passed, she didn't, like, her only real asset was the house, right? And it was owned by 3 siblings. They had to come out of pocket for the funeral expenses and anything else, any other costs associated with it. They had to come up with that, like, in cash, right? And all they had was this house. So essentially, at first, the idea was, oh yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to fix the property up. We're going to keep it in the family. We're going to fix it up. It's going to be like it's always been our house.
We all think that, right? Until we see what the cost is, and then it's like, wait a sec, I got to outlay $80,000 to fix this house that I own a third of, and I'm never going to use, and I got 80 grand that I got mortgage, tuition, car payments, student loans, like, oh, now what?
Right. So and the property, I mean, they moved it when my great grandfather passed. My grandmother took the boys, her sons, to that house, and that's where they lived. And essentially, I mean, she bought it for I think it was like $6,000 in 1964, right? And it was a paid off house. She wasn't making like if you looked at the house, I mean, it looked a lot like in 2020. Well, she passed in 2020. In 2020, it looked a lot like what she bought it, what it looked like in 1960, right? And so, I mean, selling it, you could sell it to somebody. Like, I know there was a family that was interested, but either way, they would have to put money, they would have to rehab it and get approved for a loan and everything. So, I mean, all in all, my grandfather told me, look, the best thing for us to do is just to sell it. How much would you guys be willing to offer? Right. So what I did was we went up to the house because we also wanted to get a lot of the things. It was a lot of our family heirlooms, but because I
like that great picture,
like that painting. And my grandma was my great grandma was a painter. And so I took a look, I got all the photos, and I sent it to my team. My team generated a preliminary offer. Then we negotiated with my team negotiated with, and let me say, negotiating with family, especially like older, like my grandfather's a boomer man, so I'm like I have to like actually negotiate. He's a MBA and a JD. I have to actually like he didn't give me anything. So actually, those are the most crowning achievements when I'm able to get deals done with him because he's a stickler.
So what we're gonna do is this because of Stickler. We've got to take a quick break because we're 20 minutes into the show. We have a quick commercial that'll run for about 20 seconds. So don't go anywhere. Don't leave the show. Don't do anything. Your camera will be on. Your microphone will be mute. So sit tight. We're going to run our commercial, and then we're going to come back to negotiating with Grandpa, and then finding out what Real Estate Liquidation Solutions and Jacksons Crossings can do for you. Sit tight, everybody. Darrell, don't go anywhere. Good afternoon, good evening, good day. We are back. I am Jason Weiss. We are on the Ask Jason Weiss show. And again, I have with me Darrell Jackson, Jacksons Crossing LLC. And although I am an attorney and we are talking about legal things, this is not legal advice. This is not anything. You haven't retained me. There is no attorney-client privilege. So Darrell, right before the break, we were talking about how when a family goes through a loss, through a tragedy, through the passing of a loved one, there are things that need to be done after that loved one has passed, especially if, there's no spouse, and now something that is a major asset of a person, such as a house, is to be divided, in your example, between three people. None of the three people really want to live there. None of the three people can afford to do anything. And they have all these other things that they got to take care of. So one of the things that Darrell and Jacksons Crossing LLC does is that alleviates that problem, that part of the equation. You no longer need to really worry about what do we do with grandma's house? How do we do it? How do we divide it up? What do we do with it? Because we're on the other side of the country, and we're in Florida, North Carolina, New York, and we got this house in Baltimore that nobody wants to live in or visit. We want to go. We want to collect personal belongings. We want paintings. We want jewelry. We want artwork. But at the end of the day, although we don't want to let this house go, we really have no choice. And that's where, reading between the lines, that's where Darrell comes in, right? You've got this. It doesn't even have to be a distressed. It could be in pristine condition. You've got a property that you no longer can take care of, or the owner cannot take care of it, or they've passed on, and you don't know what to do with it. Well, that's where Darrell comes in. He's like, hey, I'm over here. Give me a call because I can help you find a way. And what are the ways? What are the things, Darrell, that you look to do to help people? And then the second question is, what are the assets? What is the real property that you're really looking for? You're probably not looking for the prestige $10 million house where the person wants $12 million for it. You're probably looking at grandma's house that she bought for $6,000, wasn't in the best of shape, but doesn't want to lose for nothing.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, you nailed it on the head. I mean, we're not really looking for anything obviously, we want to get you the best value. We're backed by a network of nationwide investors that are actively buying in pretty much every zip code across America, looking for opportunities to invest. Like I said, we have hedge funds, we have private investors, we have the mom and pop landlords. We work with, if they're like landlords, say, that are retiring, those are also a good one. If you're getting older, and let's say you have the maybe not 10 million, but
Yeah, well, look, I live in South Florida. I'm in actually Delray Beach.
Oh yeah, that was right.
There's a lot of elderly people here, right? So, an elderly person, she's a widower, she passes, she's got a villa, if it were in pristine condition, it'd be worth 400,000, but chances are, and I will stereotype, a little bit here, it's, probably had a live-in aid, or probably was living at one of these assisted living homes, or even let's even do that, right? Grandma's to the point where she really can't take care of herself, and grandma's going to be moving into an assisted living facility. Grandma doesn't know what to do with this house. It hasn't been upkept, it hasn't been taken care of phenomenally. It's not worth zero, but it's not worth what other things are selling for in the neighborhood.
And it's not worth the hassle either. Like, especially if you're an elder, like if you live in another state or even just 45 minutes away, I'm sure you don't want to keep dealing with that house, or keep going back and forth. That was one thing that my grandfather told me. He said he really doesn't want to keep driving back and forth to Harrisburg from Baltimore. It's only 40 minutes to an hour, but that's a two-way commute. It's a lot of times the best thing to do is just to offload the property. My team, like I said, our network of investors have bought. I've probably facilitated deals in at least 15 states across the country. I had one. It was random. It was so random. It was in South Dakota, and it was the most random thing, but essentially the mom wanted to avoid, the mom had passed away. She wanted to avoid some sort of tax, so she quit claim deeded. And that's another thing. Instead of hiring an estate attorney, she quit claim deeded the property to her daughter, and they somehow circumvented taxes on the front end, but then they, like, when we were closing, essentially, and let me tell you how small South Dakota is. The realtor, because we aren't located in South Dakota, we had to partner with a realtor there, and apparently the realtor that we partnered with to get the photo had dated the woman whose house we were selling's fiance. And so I get a call in the middle, like it was in the middle of the night, because I think it's like a 2-hour difference or something from Baltimore to South Dakota. I get a call. The lady's like irate that, like, this lady that she doesn't like, because it's a small town in South Dakota. So, and everybody knows a realtor. It just so happens that the realtor that we didn't know. I'm sorry, it wasn't our fault. So I had nothing to do with that. But
so Miss Realtor from North Dakota, if you're listening, he apologizes. It wasn't on him. But look, a lot of times when you quit claim deed or do something, you can avoid some of the taxes on the front end. But usually by January of the following year, after a quit claim deed has been done, that's when they reassess and they look at the property records. And if there has been a transfer or a conveyance of a quit claim deed, they're going to go in and they're going to reassess it. So if, in the situation you were talking about where you had grandma's house, she bought it for $6,000 and she was paying taxes on a valuation, even let's say of $50,000, and she quit claims it to the 3 kids, right? And now all of a sudden it's worth $500,000. Guess what? Grandma's, the new owners are paying taxes based on that $500,000 evaluation. And that's one of the things that, people talk about. And I don't want to get too legal, but they talk about what's called a ladybird deed, which is good for someone when they're living. But when they pass, the heirs or the people that take that property, their tax basis goes up. Meaning, if you have a ladybird deed and grandma had a ladybird deed on her house, and it was worth $6,000, and then grandma passes, and they go and they reevaluate the property value after grandma passes, and it goes up to $100,000. Guess what? You're paying taxes on $100,000, not $6,000, and that's a massive increase. Where if you would have done it as an estate way, then you would be paying some capital gains tax on the back end. But, no, look, at the end of the day, the government's going to get its piece.
Yeah, definitely. So that leads me to my sort of the magnum opus of my career when I figured out that I could really do this. So after my grandma's property closed with my grandfather, I think it was like the 6th of February. I got a call the next day from a guy that was irate, or not irate. That's not.
Well, you make lots of people irate,
He when I overused the word. I used it earlier. Okay. Then I think it's in my head. No. A guy that.
Well, I think you need to move on from the irate. So you get a call. You get a call a couple of days after you buy grandma's place and close it out from somebody who wasn't happy about something.
Well, no, that was the South Dakota. You're
complaining. Oh, okay.
So I think you need to move on. But no, so what happened was he was like worried. He was very worried, and he calls me. And usually I don't get worried people, but essentially what happened was his mom had quit claim deeded he and his brother a McMansion in Fredericksburg, Virginia, just outside of DC. So it's a big property. And he called and he's like, I think he said he needed like $250,000 or something. I don't know, but it was something like that. And so essentially what happened was when his mom had paid the house off, right? The house was totally paid off, and his mom had quit claim deeded the property. Same thing, different state, same month. But he called because he had been accruing taxes every day since she had passed, or since she had quit claim deeded the house to he and his brother. So they got threatening letters from, I think it was the Virginia State Department or something. They got a bunch of letters from, and they owed a lot of money. So they needed money. And this was probably the biggest. We almost thought it was a joke or a scam. We didn't know. We thought it was somebody just messing with us. No, it was totally serious. 2 brothers were on the deed. I sat them down, figured out how much they needed to walk away. They were 2 young guys. They were my age or a little bit older, about 30. I'm 31. This happened 2 years ago. So they were 32, 33, had families, young guys. And they're just like, hey, man, get it. So we got it to them.
So let me ask you, for those 2 gentlemen, right? Let's just say they each said they needed, I think you threw out the number 250,000, and I don't know if that's total or each, right? So
total.
Okay, so they needed 250,000. Where is and of course you did your homework, you got the place appraised, and let's say it was worth, whatever it was worth. Do you feel like you need to go back and say, hey, look, this place is worth like 800 grand. I'll give you your 250, but I'm letting you know. Or do you just say, all right, 250 is what you want? Do people ever come to you and say, what can I get for this place?
They always do that. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that I get you whatever you need, right? And so I want to make sure that all the bills are paid. Everyone is satisfied. I want to make sure everybody's satisfied. All the bills are paid. You walk away with enough capital in your pocket. And obviously we incorporate our fee.
I was going to say, right. You got to make money somewhere. And
like the guy started out way lower. I think we got him. Like you said, I have a conscience. I'm a business guy, but I have a conscience. So I made sure I got him up to somewhere where he would feel comfortable. Right. Obviously,
if a place is worth 8 and they're going to say to you, I need 2, and you're going to be like, look, it's worth 8. I can get you 6. I'm sure they're going to say, sure, let's take it. But you're not going to be able to, someone's not going to come to you and say, I need 500,000, and you're looking and this place is worth 525 on a good day. I can't do that, right?
Right. So, I mean, essentially, we got
So,
everybody.
so listeners, you should be using Darrell, but just have an idea of what you think it could be worth. Or if you don't care what it's worth and you just want to dump it, because then that's too. But, you know, look, buyers always need to be aware, right? Whenever you go into any type of relationship in business, you need to know what you want, you need to know what you expect, and you need to know what your outcome is. And if your outcome is, I want no mess, no hassle, I want to get some money for this house, and I want to move on with my life, awesome. If it's, hey, I want to get top dollar for this house, well, then you're probably not going to want someone like Darrell. You're going to want to go ahead and get a real estate agent and list it and wait 6 months and do all this and go through probate. But if you want faster, no hassle, you know, very easy and simple to work with, this is your guy.
Now, I do want to push back a little bit.
All right, push.
Yeah, so
move me around.
Okay, so a lot of times it's the football background coming. No, so a lot of times what a property sold for is a vanity metric, right? People love to say my house sold for $550,000, right? So you can say that, and that's fine, right? So if you work with a realtor, you can say my house sold for $1 million. But my question to you is, what did your accountant say, right? What when the check was cut after the fees, the taxes, when the check was cut at the title company and closing happened, what did your children's 529 say? Did they say that your property sold for, like, did you put that much in? So what I'll say is, I don't want people to think that we're the cheaper option and that they're the more expensive option. It comes out to about the same. It's just about how much you're willing to, like, it's just, so what a realtor does is you're hiring them to market your property, right? They're not buying your property. You can I could hire a realtor to market a she shed for $200 million, right? I could do that. Will it sell for 200? No.
Maybe $200.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So a lot of times people love to say, oh, I can list it with a realtor at this price. That's fine. A realtor is there to market your property. Jacksons Crossing, we are not marketing your property.
You are the actual
network. We are the actual buyer. So we can agree, like, and you made a great point about having like business savvy. Like, I mean, you at that one point, you are the negotiator. And so we're negotiating directly with you as opposed to having all these other people in the transaction.
And you don't have to list, and you don't have to have people walking through your home, and you don't have to do this. And this is kind of like, it's a convenience, right? And again, it's something that when a loved one passes, the last thing you want to do is have to worry about selling the house when you're all the way on the other side of the US or the world. And you come in and you facilitate it. You're like, look, this is what we can get you. This is what we could do. We could pay off these debts. We could pay off this. We could satisfy the tax lien. We could do all this. We could do all that. And we're going to put this in your pocket. And then it's up to the person to say, you know what? It's awesome. I want to do it. Or the person could say, nah, I'd rather roll the dice, list it online, MLS. And then chances are you're going to be looking 8 months down the line and it's still going to be listed, where you would have been able to put money in their pocket right then and there. And you got to think about this, right? The carrying costs for a place. You still have to have the water on. You still have to have the electric on. You still need insurance. You still need heat. You still need removing, snow and all that kind of stuff. Those are all expenses that people don't think about. So if you're sitting with a property for 6 months because you think you can make an extra 10 grand or 20 grand, guess what? You're going to burn through that in the 6 months. And this is the guy that will help you with that. And again, he's not for everybody, but it's somebody who you should really consider, looking at. He's got a really cool website. I've checked it out a couple of times. It's mymaildeals.com/Jacksons Crossing. And you could, they buy it fast for fair cash price, and you get rid of that asset, and you get rid of that headache. And this is the guy that will help you and your family move on and go to the next stage in your career. So look, I can't believe we already burned through 40 minutes here. So how do you get in touch with Darrell? 667-392-7382. You can also check out his website, mymaildeals.com/Jacksons Crossing, and reach out to him. If you have a property, you're thinking about having a property, you know something's coming your way, you don't want the heartache, you don't want the hassle, you want to just continue on with your life, reach out, talk to Darrell. Worst case scenario, you're going to hear some great stories and meet a great guy. Best case scenario, you all make some money and are happy. Darrell, thank you so much for being on here today. Everybody, you know how to get me. I'll see you again in 2 weeks. Darrell, don't leave. Listeners, have a wonderful day, and thank you so much. Take care, everyone.